Today we're here with Ronnie Bennett. He's going to give us a little tour of his aviary. There's got a lot of birds here, from screamers behind us, parrots, and some different waterfowl and softbills.
A little bit of everything. Get around her
So what kind of gallinos are these?
That is the Asian gallinule, not the. I had the African, but I only had one species, one male, so I finally gave him away.
So have you been producing on these?
Yeah.
How many eggs they typically lay?
4.
4 eggs, and you usually hatch them?
I let them hatch them. She sits under that bush over there.
Have you ever hand raised them?
No. Dario hand raises a lot of them. I haven't done that. So.
And they're not, are they aggressive like coots or not?
No.
No?
But now I have the Allen hen, which is a small version up here, and they're very aggressive.
So the Allen hen will kill little chicks and stuff. But
yeah, and the Allen hen will kill other birds.
Yeah,
in fact, the Allen hen got up in my olive pigeon nest a week or 2 ago and killed some babies.
Oh, really? So what do you got them eating over here?
Missouri. No, that's waterfowl, Missouri softbill, cat food, and then a mixture of grains. And then they get fruit and insects every day. They haven't ate their fruit yet.
When do they start laying eggs usually?
Shortly. They're already mating, yeah.
Now where do they nest?
Over here underneath this plant.
They just make a scrape and that's it?
It's nothing fancy at all, just scrape out some leaves.
They made on land or they made in the water there?
On land.
You get some lily pads in there so they can stand on lily pads.
Yeah.
Now, have you got drain in this pond, you just overflow it?
Just overflow it. And this one has a drain. But you know, with waterfowl, you know, I work all the time on those things. It gets so aggravating.
So do you have any predators in here?
I've never had one, and I always hate to say that because I'm afraid I will have. But now the golf course is behind us, so there's really no woods.
So you have it electrified too? Or
no. There's a cheer in here, and there's a pair of cheer, and then there's a little silver hen over there. I don't know why they're going crazy.
There's a cat in there?
I know the cats stay here all the time. They're not scared of the cats. And he is an instigator. We never shut him up, and he just goes pen to pen fighting with everybody. That's all he does. Green jungle fowl.
How you doing with them?
Last year my male died and I had piles of eggs, so I had nothing to hatch. And this is a young male, so I'm not sure he's going to be fertile this year either.
Yeah, it's funny because it's almost like even the adult males go into spells where they're fertile and then they're going in and out of fertility. They don't synchronize with the females a lot of times.
Right. I mean, I've never been real successful with them. To say I'd raised a lot of them would not be the truth because I haven't.
That's the same here.
Yeah.
And I lost my last pair last spring. We had pox virus going around with the mosquitoes and ended up taking them down, and it did, it decommissioned my gray jungle fowl for the season too. So we didn't raise hardly anything for gray jungle fowl this year either.
Well, these things are not very smart either, because see, they got a shelter and a roost, but see where I have the heat lamp?
Yeah,
they roost on top of the bamboo.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're actually a lot more sensitive, I think, than the grays too.
Yeah, well, the only ones of the jungle fowl that I ever try to give any heat at all to is the greens.
Yeah, we had an issue because those greenhouses that we have, we had the green jungle fowl in there, and they'd get up on the metal bar, support bar goes
and their feet would.
We ended up freezing a whole leg on one of them, and the bird was he bred for years like that,
right?
With just one stub. But the thing is, when you have that kind of damage, they never completely heal,
right?
And then eventually you're going to get an infection, and that's the end of them.
I had vulturine guinea fowl were notorious for that, getting their feet freeze off.
I didn't know that they were that sensitive.
Young pair of Edwards.
Now this is a bird that it's kind of like one of these fad birds where everybody wants them because they hear that,
they go crazy over them, and then after a while, then nobody wants them anymore.
World Pheasant Association is doing a project in Asia supposedly, and now everybody wants them. And
yeah, I worked with them on that project several years ago, and Then it kind of dwindled out. Now it's back up again, you know. So
I mean, my personal opinion is they got to work on habitat first.
right.
The same.
Well,
same,
what was happening? They were sending them over there, and the people are eating them.
Yeah.
So, that's what they've always done.
Well, and then it's kind of like this Madagascan poacher project they got going there. They're producing all sorts of birds, but the birds have nothing to eat on
right.
them. So they've actually got rafts out in the middle of these lake, this lake,
right.
and they're feeding the birds there continuously.
Well, most of the environment's been destroyed where all these birds would be there.
Yeah, yeah.
There's one white crown pigeon back there.
This is a nice aviary here. And I see that this. How old is this wood here?
This was some of the first ones I built, so that's about 17 years.
Oh, really? It lasts that long down
here?
there?
This side's new.
Because we can't get it to last down in North Carolina any more than 5 years.
Really?
Well, actually, we have some aviaries that are like 7 years, but it should have been replaced like 2 years ago.
These are some of my original ones, so they're old. This is bronze-tailed peacock pheasants somewhere. Oh, there they are. And then Malay peacock pheasants.
Oh, you got the triangle spotted pigeons.
Yeah, there's a mama one sitting up there, and there's one sitting over here. I'm overflowing with those. Jeff Berger, I got to send him some. I don't know why he wants some. This is birds that are actually in quarantine, part of them. Some back there.
What are these things here?
Troupials, Venezuelan troupials.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then, well, this is not in quarantine. That's just a young Vonderdecken female.
Oh, yeah. What are you feeding?
They get beef liver, hamburger meat with a low fat content, crickets, mealworms, and fruit.
So this is the Vonderdeckers?
Vonderdecken.
Vonderdecken. I can never pronounce that.
And the Vonderdeckens, they're easy to sex because the female has a black beak and the male has a red.
So do these things, when they're making their nest cavities, they pack the hole like the other hornbills do?
Yeah, they mud it up with well, it would be nice if with the ground where they're pinned at, but I have to put in like bowls of clay and stuff. Mm-hmm. But they'll take the clay and bananas and their part of their excrement that they put out and make a.
So what kind of clay? Just any kind of clay you put it?
Well, I try to find some real red, thick clay and put it in there, and they mix it up with other stuff, with dirt and stuff, and then they mud in. Usually stay muddy.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, like some of the South American parrots and stuff eat the clay. They eat the clay.
No, they don't. No,
they're just using it for packing.
Right. Yeah.
And when do they typically lay? At least in
the spring.
In the springtime.
Yeah.
Do you?
And then when they mud up, the female stays inside and the male feeds her. In fact, when we go up to the other aviaries, you can see the nest boxes.
So when you hand raise them, you just break the nest open and
pull them out.
You pull the chicks out.
Yeah.
And how do they? What do you feed them? What do you hand feed them with?
Pinkies.
Pinkies?
Yeah.
So straight pinkies, no hand feeding.
Well, we give them some of the hand feeding formula, but it's mainly the pinkies. Start off with like a half a pinky and move up.
For how long?
Oh God, probably 2 months anyway.
Really? So they're just strictly carnivores for 2 months? Yeah. I never would have.
Well, now we supplement some fruit with it, but it's mainly the meat.
Uh-huh. And how many eggs do they typically lay at a time? 2. 2 eggs.
Yeah.
And
in fact, she has not. It's not been long since she's been stopped being hand fed.
Will they double clutch, triple clutch? Or?
Yeah. If you pull the eggs.
So how many clutches can you get on?
Probably. I mean, you could get 3, but I'd say 2 on an average. Yeah. To be safe. Yeah.
That's awesome. They bite at all or not?
Only if you catch them.
But I mean,
they won't just bite you through the wire.
Are they friendly? I don't want to say tame, but friendly.
They're friendly after the ones that are hand fed. Now, if you let the parents rear them, they're just like any other wild bird. You can't do anything with them. Mm-hmm. This one, like I say, is hand fed. If we had one in this same cage that was raised by the parents, she'd be killing herself in here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, she seems fairly calm.
Yeah, she's a calm bird.
She doesn't like it because we're all around a cage, but.
Well, she's in this jungle too. We need to get some more plants. And then hanging parrots, which is one of my favorite birds. You can get in closer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a cool little bird. It's like kind of looks like a lovebird, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, the lady that takes care of our birds, she calls them. What does she call them? Baby parrots.